The new American dream is living overseas. Most people don't realize that it doesn't really take that much money to live overseas. You can live well abroad, making about 4,000 or less, depending on the country. So let's talk about money, right? You need to find a way to, if you're not already, to make money online, whether that's a job, whether you're a contractor, or whether you're starting an online business. You need to have some online income to make it a lot easier for you. I have some videos. You could go to my playlist to do your own research and figure out what it is, whether that's tech sales, customer success manager, data analytics. There's a lot of options out there for you. Think about the skills you already have and how can you monetize that? And if you don't have any skills, that's where the links in the descriptions will be good for you, so you can decide what can I build up now while I'm in America to plan my way out. Because let's be real, guys, America has shifted. A lot has changed in literally 90 days. So think about how you're gonna make income, because most people don't come overseas looking for a job unless it's a specialty. I do help people find those things that they can get into. The best part about that is if you find a job where you're making 2 to 4,000 or more, especially if you're in Latin America or Southeast Asia, you'll be living pretty good. Now let's look into the second part of housing. When you look into living overseas, most of the time, Airbnb is going to be your best friend. If you're trying to stay for 30 days, 90 days, and you're not trying to get locked in for a 3-month lease, you can do month to month. With Airbnb, you can stay 1 month in one place and then go to a different spot to get a feel of the area and test the waters before you even fully jump and dive in to living abroad. Use the first 1 to 3 months as your landing ground, like testing the waters, learning the areas, learning about what it actually costs maybe to buy or to even rent out. And I do have a company, if you're looking in Latin America, where we can connect you if you're looking for rent, buy, temporary housing, or even to invest, and having a property management team to take care of everything while you travel abroad or you live in the US. Now, if you don't want to do the Airbnb route, you can do the long term at some point. Here's 2 things you need to consider. One, some may ask you for a local guarantor if you don't have your residency. So that local guarantor is going to have to sign off for it. Some may ask them to even meet the income. That could be a hassle. I'm going to be quite honest. So that's why some people go with the second option as an expat, which is putting down a deposit. Some may ask you 1 month, 3 months up front, but it's still, those 1 to 3 months will be equivalent to maybe 1 month of rent in the US. That's why I recommend this company, especially if you're looking in Latin America. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a gringo fee. When they know that you don't live there, you're not a local, they're going to tax you a little bit more sometimes. It's going to be overwhelming, but it's good to have a connection when it comes to that. And keep in mind, when you're doing long term, there's no credit checks. You put your money where your mouth is. It's not like the US where you need your arm and leg, the past 2 years where you work, let me see your bank statements. You don't have to do all that most of the time when you're looking for housing overseas. And number 3, I talked about that in my previous videos about documentation, the visa process, and what you need to get started depending on the country that you're visiting. Some countries look in if you need a visa upon entry, or what their digital nomad visa is like, because that's additional costs you need to pay to get your things in order. So that way you're not having to scramble and do visa runs every time unless you're okay with that. Make sure you have your documents in line. For my US citizens, check out my previous video that I talked about this already. I'm not shaming. There's always going to be somebody trying to get over people, especially if you're expat. They know you could probably spend more than a local can, so they're going to try to strong arm you. Same thing with housing. Guys, I'm telling you from experience. So what I would say, highly recommend you understanding the documents you're going to need, what the visa situation is, and if you're going to use a company, make sure you have all your ducks in order, your documentations. For my US citizens, most likely, you're going to make sure you have your documents apostilled, your background check, your birth certificate or passport, and The translation part, you could do it once upon arrival. Make sure you understand the visa and documentation costs. And I would say, depending on the country, if you're just doing a digital nomad visa, that could be as low as like $150. But if you're trying to do like a temporary permanent residency, budget for $1,000 to $3,000. How much money should you really have? Depend on you and the country that you're trying to move to, but have a full understanding of what the expats are paying. Because once again, expat pricing and local pricing is going to be different. The main reason is because the Airbnb factor, and some people end up paying more because of that, because they didn't know, hey, instead of paying $700, I could have been paying $500 for the long term, or maybe even $400. I would say ballpark budget is anywhere from 8,000 to 15,000 USD. That could buffer for 3 to 6 months, because ideally you could be spending less than 2,000 a month on everything, your daily living, including rent, eating, whether that's shopping, all that good stuff. You could be spending less than 2,000. So I do tell people anywhere from 8 to 15,000 to find that buffer, because maybe if you need to look for a job, or if you're going to start a business, prepare for a rainy day, because I don't ever recommend you just going to a country with no money and expecting you to have a better living situation if you're going to be worried about the money that you don't have currently. But do what you want. At the end of the day, I can't tell you what to do with your money. If you don't have that yet, don't panic. Start learning a skill right now to make some income. I know we live in this consumer society world, but you're going to need to make some money to get out of your situation. I know the hustle culture and all that, I get it. I totally understand. But if you want to leave, that's temporary. Temporary sacrifice, so that way you can live a better lifestyle outside of the U.S. Because I tell you guys, all the stuff that they told you about these countries, oh, the people are so poor, which can be the case for, of course, even in the U.S. people are poor. Oh, the infrastructure sucks. They're not smart. Go visit for yourself. Stop listening to what the media tells you, because one thing about the U.S., they're great marketers. They're very great at telling you other people are so bad, but in reality, it's us. In most of the part, especially now, it's really us, but they're going to downplay it and tell you other countries are so bad. Let's summarize what we talked about today. Number one, get your money together. Get your money straight, right? Whether that's finding a job, learning a skill right now that you can take somewhere to be a contractor, freelance work, whatever you need to do, learn that skill right now while you're in the U.S. Number two, use housing, find that housing in your Airbnb, but plan to get local prices later. And I, once again, connected with the company, especially if you're looking at Latin America, where they can assist you with that, right? So that way you're not paying what I call gringo prices. Number three, plan for your stay, whether that's your visa, making sure you have your documents in hand with you. So that way, maybe while you're there, you can start applying for it now, so that by the time if you need to go back home, you have everything in the works. When you come back, you have that temporary residency already, or you have your digital nomad visa, whatever it is that you plan to get. Save up before you leave. Have some money, have some 3 to 6 months at least. That buffer is going to be 8 to 15 grand or more, depending on who you are and your spending habits. But honestly, once you're in these countries, you're not going to be spending as much as you think you will, because your dollars will go far, especially if you're coming from a Western country specifically. Still respect the locals. Just because you think something's worth more, don't pay more for it. Pay what the locals are too. Support the local businesses, support the local people, and don't be a dickhead. If you think that you need to go to a place where they speak English only, then stay your ass where you're at. If you're not going to adapt to the culture, you're going to have a different experience if you don't adapt to the people and the culture around you. So if you're not willing to do that, stay where you're at. There's no point in living abroad if you can't do that. I'm just going to be real with you. A lot of people online are not going to tell you that they want to sugarcoat all these things for views, but I'm not going to lie to you. I could care less. I know the people who are going to stay to the end, this belongs to them. I'm just keeping it real. Now, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe to the channel, and comment below if you wanted to know anything or Tell me what countries you're looking into. I'm just curious to see where people are heading nowadays or where they're looking to go for 2025. Why stay to suffer when you could be somewhere else living your best life with you and your family and still getting a quality life with quality food, with quality people as well. Remember, guys, before we get off though, no matter where you go, you always bring you. That's number one thing. Just moving is not just going to change your life if you bring that negativity with you or you bring that jacked up mindset you have. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're still going to have the same issues because of you. We got to start looking at ourselves in the mirror. Let's move smart so that way we can leave the West and stop getting screwed. But anyways, guys, take care.